I just don't know how many more Clipper-Laker games, or Clipper games for that matter, that I can watch when they lose by 1 point. One point.
But on the bright side, they're getting within 1 point of the Lakers. They're beating some really good teams.
Really good teams, but you know what? You got to get your free throws better, and you got to play more defense, and they got to get better.
We'll still go out and support the Clippers.
We will,
they're a
of
lot
course.
of fun to watch.
They really are, of course. Okay, we need to move on to NFL. Big, huge breaking news, of course, this week. Brett Favre, the streak is over.
I know.
297 consecutive games is crazy, and they said that it'll take Peyton Manning, who's the next closest, like 5 years if he'll ever reach that.
Yeah, and Brett now has the start on, I guess, next Monday night for his
On the new
streak.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I think he can.
He can swing it.
He'd be about 60, but
60
yeah.
is good, you know.
I think he's got a chance. But Peyton might hit it first. You're right.
He could. Do you remember last year in the Super Bowl, the commercial that Brett did, where with the, well, I don't know if I'm coming back or not, and then they show a shot of him, like, 10 years later with like really gray hair, and he's like, hobbling out in the field. But that's Brett.
It's not unlikely.
It's not unlikely. Exactly.
That might have been a prophetic commercial.
It was, actually. When I heard that the Metrodome had collapsed the day before the game, actually the morning of the game, and they had to move it to Detroit, I said only Brett would have like a higher being helping him to heal one more day. Of course, it didn't work, but only Brett, that would only happen to Brett Favre. Seriously.
What is that roof made of? What is the fabric?
That's a good question. But it's kind of one of those like balloon kind of things.
Right.
I remember when the Colts played in one, and I remember actually going into it, and it would almost kind of suck you in and suck you out because of the air in there. So it's a little strange.
Yeah, it definitely can't hold snow.
No, and in Minnesota, I kind of don't get that because doesn't snow there like kind of a lot?
I say just rip the roof off and play outdoors.
Exactly, because then it'll just be like playing in Buffalo or New England.
It's called the Metro Bowl.
Then there you go, and just let the snow come in. Let it snow. It's Christmas time.
Let it snow.
Right? But his strained shoulder is still bothering him. We don't know if we'll even see him again this year, which is kind of strange to think we might never see him play again.
That is a little sad. I mean, he's one of the legends of all time.
He is.
So, I mean, what we've seen in the last 297 games.
297 years, yes.
Yeah.
The Brett's been playing.
That'll set me up and have stories for the kids for
a long time.
A long time. So
yes.
Sad that he missed, this last game, so he can't hit 300. But hey, it's Brett Favre.
I think because we're also like goal and stat oriented. Like, I don't think that Brett cares whether it was 297 or 300 or 301, but it is interesting that we think, God, could he just make it to 300?
Yeah.
As if those other 297 don't mean anything.
Yeah, and he's got America just feeling bad for him. But then I think
come on,
he's played football for 15 years and he has a Super Bowl. So.
He does.
Go Brett.
And you know what? I don't care what anybody says. All top 5. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks ever in my book. I mean,
definitely.
no doubt at all.
Most definitely. Now, how about the quarterback from Arizona?
Yeah, football's a very emotional game. Okay, so after the game, he came out and he had been talking to one of his teammates on the sideline, and one of the reporters said, what were you laughing about? You were losing, 96-0, whatever the score was, and he got very upset. And you know what? I feel for him because we don't really know what the conversation was on the sideline.
Well, sometimes in a game when you're getting a beating like that,
right, you're trying
sometimes you just realize that there's nothing else to do but have a laugh. Well, a reporter called him out on it in the press conference room, and
he did, and he lost it.
He lost his mind.
He did.
Yeah. And you think that that's okay to show some emotion?
You know what? I do. I think that they are so trained to say what we want to hear all the time that when somebody does that, I'm like, you know what? He has a little fire in him.
Sometimes when I see Terrell Owens do something like that, or Ocho Cinco,
do you think that's okay?
I'm kind of fine with it. But when the quarterback, the leader of your team, I want to see some composure, especially when you're like whatever they are, a 4-17.
Okay, so they're not doing very well, and he just got a little emotional.
He did.
But you don't think that's good team leadership, do you?
I think a guy, especially as young as that, if he wants to keep his starting job in the NFL, just answer the question. Say, I was laughing. I shared a joke with somebody. I was laughing at a joke.
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't say that.
No, he didn't. He said, it's fine. It's fine. Go back to the locker room, and then that's it was all over the airwaves for the next week.
It was, but something, anytime you do that on camera, it is going to be forever there. So it's something to think about. But again, he's emotional.
Yeah.
It's an emotional game, Will.
It's a funny moment too.
It is. It's kind of a funny moment, actually.
Do I agree with it? No. He didn't say playoffs.
And he
Playoffs?
did. Yeah, it wasn't a Coach Moore moment.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me?
No,
But
the Cardinals aren't making the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not making the playoffs, that's for sure. Let's talk about who will make the playoffs.
Right.
I know that New England has already clinched. They're definitely making it. And they look spectacular. It didn't start out looking spectacular this year. And I hate to say it because I am not a Patriots fan. Sorry, Liz. But you know something? They look amazing.
They do look really good. And last week in Chicago,
the snow, in the middle of the blizzard,
Brady had one of his best games.
Ever.
So I don't think there's anything that's going to stop this team. I do see them going to the AFC Championship game, if not the Super Bowl.
So you think they're better than Pittsburgh, the other team that's doing very well?
I wouldn't be surprised if they face each other. That'll be
maybe the championship game, actually.
Steelers defense is
crazy.
really one of the only things I can see stopping New England.
I mean, Palomalu the other day, again, he is just like amazing. He makes plays that nobody else does.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He's wild out there.
Now, what about in the NFC? This is kind of out there. Like, who is really great in the NFC? Atlanta is really good.
Atlanta's really good.
They're kind of under the radar team, but who else?
They beat Green Bay.
Yeah.
And
the Giants look good some days, but not every day.
Yeah, I mean, they beat obviously Vikings without
without Brett. Yes.
But yeah, I think the Eagles, the Falcons, those are the teams that are going to compete for the NFC.
Yeah, maybe the Eagles. I mean, Michael Vick is so much fun to watch. Not when he's playing the Cowboys, but yeah, so much fun to watch.
Well, the Cowboys, next year we know.
Next year they'll be great. Yeah.
Maria, we just have to hope for a really good draft pick.
Really good draft pick. Yeah, thanks. I know. I'm okay. I'm getting through this. It's tough, but and this year too, we've seen firings mid-season. Wade Phillips was fired. Josh McDaniels was fired. Who else was fired? Childress was fired from Minnesota. But
Brad Childress.
Yeah, I think that they are just not good fits, and at some point you have to just say we're done, which is what Jerry did, of course, in Dallas with Wade, and Jason Garrett doing a much better job.
Well, I think it's a new era, and it's the same with basketball a little bit from what I see.
Yes.
Is these coaches have to be able to relate to the players, and I think in Minnesota with Brad Childress, the players didn't respect him.
They didn't relate to him.
And I don't know if the same was true with Wade Phillips, but
but I think Wade was lazy. I mean, that was the thing that I just did not agree with. When I found out that those guys had not practiced in pads all year until Jason Garrett had them out there on a Wednesday in pads, I just couldn't believe that. That's laziness.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the exact same thing. I can't disagree with you there. And I think Garrett has obviously put a little bit more motivation and put
I think so too.
a couple more wins back in the team too.
Right.
And so those firings are warranted.
Yeah, but something we're going to be talking about, of course, in January is, next year we don't know if there's going to be a lockout. We don't know what's going to happen with the strike in the NFL. But some very big names could come back to coaching, like a John Gruden, like a Bill Cowher. And I love Jason Garrett, but honestly, if Bill Cowher said, I want to go coach your Cowboys, Maria, I think I would drive him to the stadium myself.
And not John Gruden?
And John Gruden, I would drive there too. Yes.
I like
you
John
can drive
Gruden.
John Gruden there.
He's a
and I'll take Bill
motivating character.
Cowher. Yes.
I would take him on my football team.
Motivation is a good thing. And you know who else motivates the Clippers on a daily basis, and we love them, are the Clipper girls. You've had a chance to meet some of those girls?
Yes, we've been talking to the Clipper girls. There's still some veterans that we've been seeing for the last few years.
And some rookies that are there.
We've gotten a chance to talk to both.